Hey everybody, Clay Archer, CEO DPC Technology, and today I've got a great one for you. Today we're going to review the brand new G5 PTZ. For those of you who've been around a while, you know that I've had the G4 PTZ for a long time. You can check out our reviews. I'll put a link down in the description below or put a card up on the screen. But I've been really excited about the pre-release images that we've seen leaked about the new PTZ camera coming from Unifi, and today happens to be the day that I got my hands on it. Unifi was kind enough to send out all the new mounting brackets for it, so we're going to walk through those and show you which ones we kind of are excited about, and then we'll throw it up on the wall, and then we're going to do a full test on it. I will tell you this is a pretty quick turnaround on this one, so I'm not going to do my full night review. And I also want to do several of these indoors. So look for that in the near future. I am going to review kind of the indoor use of this camera and do it at nighttime. So without any further ado, let's kind of look really quickly at the specs and who I think this camera is intended for. You'll see right off the bat, this is a much smaller camera than the G4 PTZ was. As a matter of fact, they are going to rename the G4 PTZ to the G4 PTZ Industrial, which I think is probably a more appropriate name for it. It is built like a tank, it is huge. And actually, I won't be doing much comparison with that camera in this video because I don't think that is the camera that this camera should be compared to. Obviously, it's much smaller, it's got a smaller sensor, it also has a much smaller price point at $299, which I think is the perfect price point for these PTZ cameras. Much like the G5 Ultra turret that just came out and the G5 Ultra Dome. It's not the same exact sensor as those, but it's comparable to those sensors. And it's a nice little sensor at a lower price point. Also, obviously the G4 PTZ had the 22 times optical zoom, which is amazing. Optically, I think that camera is a really amazing camera. This has 2 times optical zoom, which I'm really excited about. I think that's probably an appropriate level for most people using a PTZ, especially if you're going to put them indoors. I'm interested to see their tracking capabilities of the new PTZ. I'm also really excited about the mounting system for this camera. So the cameras come out with 5 additional mounts in addition to the wall/pole mount that comes in with the unit itself. They've added an in-ceiling mount, a surface mount, a pendant mount, a corner mount, and a conduit adapter mount. Now, Sean will go through those as he unboxes these for you really quickly and show you what the difference between all of those. But the in-ceiling mount's $39, the surface mount's $29, the pendant mount is $19, the corner mount, which I think is going to be a real game changer, is $19, and the conduit adapter is $29. So I'm really excited about the versatility of where you're going to be able to mount this. Obviously, the big, huge G4 PTZ was really only intended to be on the side of a building. You weren't really going to put those inside. They are just really big and bulky. Whereas this, mounting it from a pendant or to a ceiling grid or kind of up in the ceiling, I think is really going to be an amazing use for this camera. I know a lot of people are going to go, man, I really wish this was a super high res cam. And I do think that their plan here is that this is going to be the entry level at this size, but that they are going to develop this even further where we're going to get higher res cameras going forward. I can't confirm or deny any of that, but I have a feeling that that's the direction they're going to go in. Obviously, this is a pre-production unit, and this is all subject to change. Check the notes down below. I will pin a comment if anything changes as far as any of that pricing or the specs come, as this is released. I also want to thank Unifi for sending me a pre-production camera. I am an affiliate, so there'll be a link down below to buy this. If you do, I do get a kickback from them, and they do send me a free unit. That being said, they are not paying me to create this video, and all of the thoughts in this video are my own. So without any further ado there, let's throw it to Sean real quick, and he's gonna unbox the unit.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this G5 PTZ. Let's start with the mounting options. We'll move these on out of the way, and we'll take a look at the camera here. All right, first impressions. This thing looks pretty small. It does have some weight to it. Nice little gimbal, and you can see how it moves around, swivels. So it looks like this comes included with a wall mount. So you're gonna have that hanging kind of like a light bulb. Got a little hose clamp with it, and your typical Unifi mounting screws, pole mount, and your famous little level. And that's it. That comes with the box for the G5 PTZ. So let's go ahead and get moved on to some of the mounting options. All right, first mount I have right here is the G5 PTZ conduit adapter. You can see this one has holes slotted on the sides, so you can kind of do this in line with a conduit running through it. So this will be something where you mount it against the wall like this, and your camera mounts right up against it again. This is for if you're doing a long distance conduit run, and you have the cable that passes through it, mounts it, and then continues on, which is pretty convenient for not having to get yourself a whole junction box and everything like that. You can just throw this on the line and it'll work for you. Next, we have the G5 PTZ corner mount. This is a pretty neat little bracket. It's designed to mount right into the corner of a unit. You've got a little cover plate for it. And this is designed so that you take the original mount that comes with it, mount it against the side here, and you can hang it right off the corner of a building, which you see in a lot of industrial installations with cameras. Next, we have the G5 PTZ pendant mount. Okay, so the pendant mount is pretty basic as well. This will mount right onto a pole, and you'll have your camera come right into there, slot right in, and hang from that. Next, we have the G5 PTZ surface mount. So this is a more traditional Unifi mounting style where you would mount on the back of a ceiling tile. This mounts right below it, and then you hang your camera from that once again. And last but not least, we have the G5 PTZ in-ceiling mount. This is your in-ceiling mount. This allows you to mount this through a ceiling tile or a drywall ceiling. This creates a hole for the camera so it sits recessed up into it. Comes with the little light bulb looking mount again, and comes with this fake ring. We'll take that off. This mounts up into the grid, it locks in, and then your camera will mount right up inside here. Creates a nice low lying ball mount so you can kind of have that as much of a low footprint as possible. This locks together and it releases with the little Unifi key. It pops the tab off. Really neat little mount, and I think that's going to be a really great installation with that one. So looking at the spread of options that we have here, the kit that comes with it is going to be kind of your bread and butter. That'll just mount up and you're ready to go. I'm glad that comes included with it. The other option here that's going to be a game changer really is your corner mount. You can mount this on the corner of a building. It allows you to look all the way down one side of the building, all the way down the other side of the building. So it kind of gives you about 270 degrees, on the outside of your building there. The last one that's also kind of going to be incredible for you is the in-ceiling mount, which will allow you to set that camera pretty far up there and kind of create a nice clean installation, but still give you the ability to have the camera rotating, fully viewing any direction you want it to. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take this camera, throw it up on the wall, see how that works for us.
Super thanks to Sean there for the quick turnaround on this today. Obviously, we've had to unbox and mount and do kind of multitask to get this unit up and tested today. So I want to thank Sean really quickly for being a trooper and getting that up on the wall there. So anyways, now that it's mounted up on the wall, let's jump into the software real quick, and I'm going to show you the camera itself and what it looks like. So this is our typical 4-up view. I've got the G4 PTZ, I've got the G5 PTZ, I've got the front door, which is just a G5 dome, and a G5 Ultra turret. So really quickly, just first impressions here. Man, it's a really nice image. It reminds me a lot of the Ultra turret. It looks really pretty. You can see the image quality is very similar to the Ultra turret. It looks a little crisper to me than does the G4. But obviously the G4 has, is not really the comparison I'm going to make in this video. I think its image quality is going to come from its optics more than it is really from its sensor at this point. You can see this is a nice wide field of view. I've got it set here to home, kind of heading back towards the front door. For those of you that are not familiar with Unifi PTZs, you can use the mouse to control it. You can also control it with the keyboards. I'm just clicking the left and right keyboard buttons here. They also introduced a new feature called preset. So I've set preset 1 to be kind of that back there. And I could go along here, and let's just say I wanted one to be here. I can just click the S button there, and that's going to save that preset. And then when I click that preset, that one's going to be preset 3, I think. It'll go there, and then if I wanted, let's go over here a little bit, and I wanted this to be preset 4, I would go S, it's going to save it there, and then if I go back to 3, it'll go back to where it was at 3, and then if I vote 4, it'll go back to where it is at 4. Really cool stuff there, but the real killer feature of what Sean did here is this is using the new corner mount. So you can see I am on the edge of the building that way, and then 270 degrees back the other direction. I am this way, and you can see where we normally have our G5 Pro on the wall. I actually just extended that cable over here for the testing today and mounted it on the corner. But I actually think I am going to run this camera on the corner, and I will show you kind of why that is such a cool thing. Is if I get out of this camera, you'll see here that I've got the G5 Ultra turret over here that's just down the wall a little bit. And I am almost able to replicate that same image from this one location. I'm kind of getting 2 cameras in one, maybe even 3 cameras in one. So I can get almost that same image with that camera. Now I have these soffits here that kind of block my image view a little bit, but you can see that that's pretty crazy. And if I wanted to, you can see if I wanted to be similar and get a little bit more of the ground, I could just push the down arrow there and get a little bit more of the ground, match that up perfectly. I am using the keyboard because it's kind of the way I've been using it with the PTZ for a while. You can see the down in the lower left-hand corner are all your shortcuts. Reset sets it back to home. Zoom is I and O. So if I click I, it's going to zoom in. I can go up to 2 times zoom on this camera. And so I can just keep going I and it'll show me my little thing there. That's all the way in. And let me do this. Let me go a little bit better. I'm going to go out again. And then I'm going to go R to reset it. I'm going to go somewhere where I can see something that's got some real good detail on it and show you that zoom function. So, okay, you can see here, and I'm going to use the mouse here. I'm just going to click the mouse control up here, click where I want to view. It's going to zoom right or focus right in on it. And then I can go I here to go in on this license plate. And you can see that's pretty impressive. Is it as impressive as the G4 PTZ? No, but this is a $299 camera and that's an $1,800 camera. So that's not really truly a fair fight. On the keyboard, if I turn off mouse control and I go down here, my presets 0 through 9, I've got my I and O for in and out, reset at R, and my directions are the keyboard. So I'm gonna click R here again to reset it. And this is the direction I've got it set at reset. I will show you how to set home. That is one thing that everybody gets confused with when they first get a PTZ is how do I set home to be here, because your camera, when you first turn it on, will have home in some random direction. But before I go there, I'll show you down here, with mouse control, I've got that zoom and I can just slide it. I do find with your keyboard, once you know the shortcuts, it's much faster to use the keyboard and it's easier to use the keyboard. I'm going to turn auto tracking, person tracking on because we have somebody walking through. You can see it identifies that person and it's going to grab them. The development that Unifi has put into that has been pretty impressive over the days. So anyways, there's not much really going on with that tracking. So I'm going to go back over here and go through the stuff. So highlights, now you can put them on or off. A person, vehicle, and animal. It goes on. I can adjust focus. It will just kind of refocus itself. You'll see sometimes it will lose focus when you're zooming or you're in between zooms. You can see it's tracking that car. You can take a snapshot and you can do image tuning, which I'm so happy in the last versions they put this image tuning in your live view here. They used to have to go back to the device to do it, and I really appreciate them being here. One thing that the camera does have is LEDs built into it at night. Unfortunately, for the quick turnaround, I'm not going to do a review of this at night, but there will be one coming where I review the parking lot at night. But it has color night vision, and it has those both IR LEDs and visual LEDs. That's pretty cool. On the color night vision, if you zoom over, it says when enabled, your camera's spotlight will be used to colorize nighttime detection recordings. Please note that spotlight's range is about 4 meters. So for me, that would be perfect because they're coming along this sidewalk here typically, and that would be well within that 4 meter range. But you know, your mileage may vary there. 12 feet isn't a super long way. If I'm trying to take a look at these trucks over here at the other side of the parking lot, I think the G4 PTZ is the more appropriate camera for that. You will see, if you go back and look at my G4 PTZ reviews, it will cast IR a long way, and it will focus on things a long way. As a matter of fact, when people walk down the sidewalk, it follows them way down in the next parking lot. So anyways, that is that for the color night vision. Cool to have it. All these are all pretty normal, typical things that you see with all the other cameras. It is nice to have horizontal and vertical flip if necessary. But that is that for those settings. The other things here I've already mentioned is the reset to home. You can push R on the keyboard to do that. You have the presets, which you can do from 0 to 9. Person auto tracking, which I always just leave on. One software modification, I would love to have that button be more obvious when it's on and off. There are times when I've left that off because I just didn't notice the difference, and it's probably very hard to see on YouTube, but it lightly goes a lighter shade of gray. The last button there is to turn on mouse control. I find that the mouse is really good for just going to a specific spot, but if you want to fine tune your adjustments to the keyboards, usually easier to do. It also has digital zoom, so if I went all the way in, optical zoom, which is the way I would do it, and I wanted to just get that little bit more reach with digital zoom, I could do it. If I wanted to read a license plate somewhere with some digital zoom, I could certainly do that. Now, I wonder if I go out here, does it get rid of the, yeah, it gets rid of the digital zoom too. No, it does not. It still has the digital zoom. So those are two separate, you know, do them with the I and the O. The I and the O will just do the optical, and the plus and minus here will do the digital zoom. So that's it from there. Down here, I can manually do the optical zoom. I think I might already showed you that. All right, so Sean's walking out. You can see him walking down the pathway here. It's grabbing him. It's following him. It's actually grabbing him around the corner here and following him all the way down. Pretty cool stuff. You can see it buffered there for a second for me. That may be my internet connection, or maybe my connection to the camera. You'll see in the recording that is fine there. So he's grabbed it all the way around the corner. He's out of sight. So you'll see that when he went out of sight, though, now it's not going to catch him back to home. Okay, so there comes Sean again.
Testing 1, 2. You're talking normal volume as if you're talking to somebody in front of you right now.
That's it, testing. And it's going to track him out of the frame and back into the front of the building. I do get some buffering from time to time on that. I think it's because I'm doing OBS and recording at the same time, but I would call that a raving success. It reset back to home, tracked them. I would be super happy with that recording and everything that's involved with that. So there's a couple things you want to do in the device when you're setting them up. In the beginning, I'm going to go to the G5 PTZ here in my devices, and I'm going to go, first I'm going to go into recording mode here. I typically just use global settings, but you can see they're pretty typical with everything else. You can set different kind of recording schedules and continuous and all the detection types. I am doing all detection types all the time. So that's person, vehicle, and animal. And audio, it's got sirens, alarm, and baby crying. The main thing in here that you do want to set, especially with these kind of cameras, especially where they are for me here, is I don't detect the cars going by on the road, because obviously I would have detections all the time. So in here, you're able to set your motion zones and your smart detection zones. I just, I will draw extra points in the middle to make these kind of polygons that don't include the road. And so I get everybody that's in the parking lot, but if they're not in the parking lot, they don't get recorded. And I just drag those far enough down where that truck, I'm gonna get the wheels of the truck, but I'm not gonna get anything beyond it. So that's pretty simple. That's pretty typical for all of your cameras. In settings, here is the one thing that will drive you crazy. I can't figure out how to set where home is. They have home view here. So you just click on it, you click edit, and if I wanted you can use the same keywords, or I just use the keyboard here, and I'll go to wherever I want to go. And if I wanted that to be home, I would just click save on home, and that's where it will return to once it's done with panning, tilting, and zooming. There's other stuff in here. You can go back here and do the color vision enhancer, but most of this other stuff isn't also available in your settings on the camera itself. So you can go into the camera itself here, very similar to what was in the live view. And I really am really happy that they moved all of this stuff from the settings here and put it into live view. So you don't have to come over here to do all that stuff. Really, that's kind of it for the camera itself. You can see the image quality here is super nice. There's nothing wrong with this image quality. Obviously everybody's going to want a higher res camera and a higher res this and that, but you're going to pay for it. So I think they really knocked it out of the park as far as the balance of performance and features to the price point. And I think where they really, really knocked it out, and I think everybody's going to be super happy with it, is the different mounting options. I think that flush mount option for inside an office is going to be amazing. This is going to look at the same size as a turret. It's smaller than a dome that's sticking out of a ceiling tile or your reflective ceiling. And you're getting a ton of power. You're going to be able to track people. That's pretty amazing for what those will be able to do. And on those interior ones, you're going to get IR and LED following people, which is pretty amazing if that's what you want. The angle mount, obviously putting this on the edge of the building is just a game changer, man. I mean, the reality of the coverage that I'm getting here And if I did too, you could do one above the other and kind of have one as home in the other direction and kind of cover everything. But really versatile there, those two mounts. The conduit mounts are awesome because a lot of places you are putting them with conduit. Just the regular surface mount, great. The mount that comes in the kit is great. The pendant pole mount, I can see a lot of these going in maybe a warehouse where you're trying to follow people around and make sure people aren't, stealing stuff off shelves or whatever. I think the flexibility of it, the price point, I think this is going to be very similar to the G5 Ultra turret, where if you see it in stock, I would run out and buy this immediately because I don't think they're going to be able to keep those on the shelves very easily. So I am going to do a typical DPC review where I do these inside and outside, day and night, and I will put them on the test rig next to their competitors and just kind of show you what that looks like next to a G5 Ultra turret or the G5 Dome and those kind of things. There really wasn't much to say other than it just kind of works. Like the other cameras in the G5 line, you feel like that's going to sit on the wall out there and just work for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years without any problems. So, but that being said, if there's anything else you want us to test, I also will be posting in the Facebook and Reddit groups. Those are great places to ask me questions about things you want me to test in that upcoming test. But that's it for now. If you like these kind of videos, please hit like and subscribe. We do these videos weekly, and we'll see you guys in the next video.